Hey guys, this is Market Update. I want to focus on the short term and the medium term in this video. We all know the long term, right? Bitcoin has more growth than most other assets, have some in your portfolio. However, on the daily chart, this downtrend is actually still intact. We recovered into it, rejecting off it now. So there's no breakthrough as yet. And there's no real catalyst that I can see that is going to push us through this price action into new all-time highs right now. There's too much going on. There's too much uncertainty with GDP and inflation and tariffs and everything like that. However, looking on the weekly chart, very, very good still, right? We bounced off the 50-period moving average. We are still in this big uptrend. So I just think it is a holding pattern. However, there's some good indicators that show that this is actually a bull market drawdown rather than the start of a bear market. I do not believe that. Medium term, I do not believe this is the top and that we're going into an 18-month bear market. So I'm super positive about the price. We just have to get through these periods, which is actually a good period because when prices draw down, you buy the asset that you think is going to perform over much longer term time horizons. Gate are doing a really good bonus right now. If you go and sign up, you can see that right here. So they give $18 in your spot account if you deposit $20. If you trade futures up to $10,000 and an extra reward for the next 10 days, which is a GT airdrop, which is their exchange token. So if you register a complete $100 trading volume, you get $8 and so on as well. Link below for that if you want to sign up. It's a short-term offer this, and they give other offers for futures and spot trading as well. We're all Bitcoin investors here, right? So I assume that you have Bitcoin, you believe in Bitcoin, and you want to hold it for a very long time. Me too. And so a lot of people just don't want to get caught out at the top of a bull market with a huge leverage position or putting in a big chunk of cash that gets drawn down 60% for 18 months, right? Doesn't feel good. Well, none of this data shows that. This is SOPR and this is MVRV. So MVRV is realized price. So it shows the difference between a transaction when it was created, held, and then the dollar price right now. And so you can see that goes through cycles where the price goes absolutely nuts, very, very crazy. And that's an incentive for those long-term holders to sell. SOPR shows short-term profit and loss, basically. So when a transaction is created, the US dollar value of that transaction, and when the UTXO is spent, the dollar value of that transaction, right? And so created and spent is at a profit or a loss. And so during bull markets, you have this regime of profits, or essentially it's not profit, but it's when the transaction was created and spent, the dollar value is higher. That's a bull market because prices are rising. And then you have these regimes, bear markets, where you have mostly losses of that transaction. It's not that someone is taking a loss, it's just between the difference between when the transaction was created and spent, the dollar value went down. And so during bull markets, what you get is drawdowns. And these drawdowns in a bull market typically are short and sharp and get reversed. And so what you have is the market basically going to a new all-time high, more or less, or a recovery high, and then drawing down and saying, well, did you actually want to buy Bitcoin there, right? Are you going to get shaken out? That's just what markets do, right? They shake out weak hands, and once they've all capitulated, and in a bull market, that's because people feel more confident. Maybe the business cycle is picking up, maybe interest rates are coming down a little bit. People feel like they have more cash, and so they're more confident. They say, I'll buy the dip. And so you get that recovery. And so what are we doing here? We had the dip and we recovered already into, essentially those UTXOs being more in dollar terms. So is that just another dip in a bull market, or is that the start of a massive bear market? Well, I lean massively to a dip in a bull market, a shakeout. And look, maybe we don't go to all-time highs next week. There's no real media catalyst to do that. But this price action is strong, in my opinion, short term. And then MVRV on the much longer term, again, the best times to buy is where you get the actual price, US dollar price, coming underneath the realized cap, which is very, very rare. And we are just on 2 for MVRV. If MVRV was 4, 5, 6 here, well, that typically shows us the top of an actual top of a cycle, or at least not the cycle anymore, but just Bitcoin is way, way overdone in relation to its longer term kind of trend and adoption rate of growth. And if you're looking to go long with a massive leverage trade, 20x leverage, that's a bad idea. And if you're looking to take an extra mortgage to go in at that price, it's probably a bad idea. You do that when we're down here, right, when the risk reward is much better. But we're at 2. And so it just shows that actually we're kind of just still in a bull market. And as long as you believe that kind of the marginal buyer will step in at points, BlackRock is starting to put Bitcoin in some of their other funds now. There's just so much capital left to come into this network that I can't really be bearish with MVRV like this, with SOPR like this, and just with the outlook over the next decade of just TradFi money coming into this asset. It's hard to say Bitcoin is weak in the 80,000s, drawn down from 106,000. I noticed over the last few weeks, the stock market's not doing too well. Mag 7 isn't doing too well. The whole AI kind of narrative isn't doing too well. It's in a drawdown phase, right? You had a huge kind of puff up of expectations, of valuations of what people thought was going to get spent. And you're just in a kind of down part of that cycle. And I'm sure it goes and returns back up at some point. But look, Mag 7, right? These are the outperformers. These are the best companies. And they are historically, drawn down at a point where it's a massive buy zone if you believe that they continue to outperform, right? 12%, you're now at 14%, largest was 23%. Those come around not very often, and they are usually massive buying opportunities to buy the best assets that for some reason have drawn down against the rest of the market, which aren't going to outperform them over the longer term because these are the best companies in the best area, which is technology, AI, etc., which we know that has a big future, and those companies are going to take advantage. They're just in this kind of down cycle right now. So you probably buy them right now. For me, you can't buy 7 stocks as your savings. They always change. It was FANG, and then it was a different one, and they put one in, take one out. Now it's Mag 7. You can't invest in 7 stocks because all stocks eventually fail. All stocks eventually get outperformed by something else or taken over or just outright go bankrupt. All stocks will do that eventually. So all stocks eventually fail. And so you need an index. NASDAQ, great. But Bitcoin is money. It's not a stock. It is different. It's a digital commodity, which is very dispersed, diversified, and it's not just an asset, it's an asset class in itself. Now, this is Bitcoin versus the NASDAQ because for most young people, you probably want to outperform this, right? Tech stocks, not only tech stocks, but that's kind of the index for younger people, right? A little bit more volatility, a little bit more growth, right? Techie end of stuff. That's really what you want. And so you want to outperform that if you're in Bitcoin, for sure. And maybe Bitcoin won't outperform it at some point, or there'll be a new index of AI stocks that outperform it. But for right now, Bitcoin being world money and having this growth is, like I always say, the sweet spot trade of our generation. Outperformance is yet to occur, actually. So you always have this bear market against the NASDAQ, recovery, a blow off top, bear market recovery, blow off top, bear market recovery. And we're outperforming the NASDAQ this month after a little drawdown, basically trying to break out. You always get this as you try and break out. So look, another really positive chart against the NASDAQ, right? But it's not just the price chart. It's not just the outperformance of the NASDAQ. You're in something far less risky. The NASDAQ is risky. Companies will come and go, in and out. But Bitcoin is far less risky on so many different vectors, right? There's no CEO risk, there's no product risk, etc. So you've got something that's outperforming, but is far less risky. It is the sweet spot trade of our generation. We'll never, ever get this again where this asset monetizes, but then becomes actually world capital and should be that kind of diversifier, low risk thing like gold would be. So it's a sweet spot trade, and we have yet to break out against the NASDAQ. I do believe that will happen. If you want to get started investing in crypto, check out the Crypto Investor course. I'll link it below. 300 videos to get yourself set up properly investing in the right way in crypto and Bitcoin. I update it for free as well for existing users forever. There's one coming in the next few months. I'll let you guys know in the Discord group when that's coming, but that will be free if you've got the course. Bitcoin demand models, you can see it's an adoption curve, and the adoption is just getting stronger as it grows. And so that's it. So just have a 10-year view. Any drawdowns in bull markets, any bear markets, please be active during those. And just have a 10-year view before you try to trade it or sell it or anything like that. You just have to accumulate right now, right? We're in that phase. Look, gold has outperformed Bitcoin over the last year, right? A little bit. So why not buy gold, right? Well, Bitcoin has all of the characteristics of gold and better and stronger, and it's digital and it's a future. If you look at the 5-year view, it's not even close. There's only one asset that's going to be monetizing 40, 50, 30% a year. It doesn't matter, right? Everything else isn't. And Bitcoin has all of the characteristics of gold and better. And people say gold is a safe asset, but this thing's actually monetizing at this rate, and it's only going to happen once. So it's the trade of our generation. I know there's a lot of FUD about Doge cuts, unemployment, potential softening of GDP. I just don't see it. These guys are not stupid. I'll link this video because it's really interesting. Elon Musk reposted this, and that's important because he knows, right, that cutting spending will drop GDP. He knows that. And there could be a recession, a Keynesian recession of soft GDP. However, what no one is focusing on is the huge amount of investment that's coming into the States. Tariffs bring activity back, which is GDP. All this investment is bringing activity back, which is GDP. They're not stupid, these guys. These politicians very clearly understand that if GDP goes soft or negative for an extended period of time, they will all get voted out. That's what they don't want to happen. They're not that stupid. Yes, they're cutting it down. And on the other side, they're going to be trying to pump up GDP from all of this private market investment as well. So it's going to be rocky, but just get through it, right? That is life. Life is rocky. You can't have Bitcoin going up 5 basis points every day, 1 basis point a day. It's not going to work. This is good news, right? It's good news that we have the economy getting back to investment, and we just have to go through that volatility right now. It's not even volatility, we're at 85,000. Okay, have a really good offer. So make your deposits in the next 10 days. You can get all this special offer, and if you trade futures, up to $10,000 bonus as well. Links in the description for everything. I'm James, this is MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.